the life and shocking story of Naya Rivera. A talented actress, a loving mom, and a life full of dreams, Naya Rivera's story is one of inspiration and heartbreak. Her journey touched millions, and her final act of love will never be forgotten. Join us as we look back at Naya's incredible life and the tragedy that shook the world. If her story touches your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep her memory alive together. The peaceful morning at the lake turned tragic when a boat crew made a heartbreaking discovery. They found Naya's body floating in the northeastern waters, a sight that would forever haunt them. The details that emerged later painted a picture of small decisions that led to this devastating outcome. Naya had chosen not to wear the life jacket offered by the boat attendants, leaving it behind in the boat. The boat itself drifted freely without an anchor to hold it steady, a simple oversight with far-reaching consequences. Life has a way of leaving us with powerful last messages. Just 6 days before her passing, Naya had shared words on Twitter that now seemed almost prophetic. She reminded everyone that each day of life was a gift, a blessing to be cherished regardless of what challenges we face. Tomorrow is not promised, she wrote, words that now carry an even deeper meaning. Back in Santa Clarita, California, on January 12, 1987, a star was born. Little did Yolanda and George Rivera know that their daughter would touch so many lives. Growing up in a home filled with music, both parents being musicians, Naya was surrounded by creativity from her very first steps. Her parents didn't just support her dreams, they helped them take flight, nurturing every spark of talent they saw in their daughter. By age 4, while most children were just learning their ABCs, Naya was already working in commercials. Her natural ability to perform was obvious to everyone who saw her. It wasn't just about being cute. There was something special about this little girl who could command attention whenever cameras started rolling. The universe had bigger plans for Naya, and her first major role came as Hillary Winston on The Royal Family. Even as a child actor, she showed remarkable poise and charm that set her apart. Her smile wasn't just bright, it was magnetic, drawing people in and making them believe in her talent. Everyone who worked with her could see she was destined for bigger things. As the years passed, Naya's passion for acting only grew stronger. She appeared in various TV shows, building her craft one role at a time. But it was her portrayal of Santana Lopez on Glee that truly showcased her brilliance. Santana wasn't just another high school cheerleader. She was complex, struggling with her identity beneath a tough exterior. Naya brought this character to life with such authenticity that she made Santana real for millions of viewers. Her personal life was a journey of its own. Love found her in the form of actor Ryan Dorsey, though their path wasn't always straight. Their relationship had its ups and downs, but love prevailed, leading to their marriage in July 2014. The following year brought them their greatest joy, a beautiful baby boy named Josie Hollis Dorsey. This new chapter as a mother added another layer to Naya's already rich life story. When Naya became a mother, her whole world shifted in the most beautiful way. Josie wasn't just her son. He was the sun her world revolved around, bringing warmth and light to every corner of her life. You could see it in her eyes whenever she looked at him, in the way she spoke about him, and how she rearranged her entire life to make sure he always came first. Being Josie's mom wasn't just a role for Naya, it was who she was at her very core. Every day with Josie felt like a gift to Naya. She threw herself into motherhood with the same passion she brought to everything else in her life. But this was different. This was deeper. Whether they were having big adventures or quiet moments at home, Naya soaked in every second with her little boy. She often said that becoming a mother had taught her what true love really meant, the kind of love that makes you want to be better, to do better, to give everything you have and then find a way to give even more. Life has a strange way of giving us signs, though we often only see them looking back. Naya's Twitter post just 6 days before she passed reads differently now. Her words about making the most of every day, about tomorrow not being promised, they weren't just casual thoughts. It was as if some part of her understood how precious time really is, how quickly it can slip away from us. Then came that last Instagram post, the one that would become etched in everyone's memory. Just the two of us, she wrote, sharing a photo with her 4-year-old son. At the time, it seemed like nothing more than a sweet moment between mother and child. Now, those four simple words carry so much weight, so much meaning, that no one could have seen coming. It was their last photo together, their last shared moment on social media before everything changed. That Wednesday morning, July 8th, 2020, started like any other summer day. Naya decided to take Josie to Lake Piru, a beautiful spot nestled in Ventura County, California. From the outside, the lake looks like a perfect place for a mother-son adventure, surrounded by the stunning Los Padres National Forest, with its tall trees reaching toward the sky and rolling hills in every direction. It seemed like an ideal spot for making memories. Many families choose Lake Piru for their day trips, drawn by its peaceful appearance and natural beauty. The water often looks as smooth as glass, reflecting the sky above like a mirror. The shoreline invites people to spread out their blankets, unpack their picnics, and spend lazy summer days by the water. It's the kind of place that makes you want to stay just a little longer to soak in more of its tranquility. But beneath that calm surface, Lake Piru holds secrets that many visitors don't know about. The water hides powerful currents that can catch even experienced swimmers off guard. These underwater forces move silently but strongly, pulling people away from safety before they even realize what's happening. The lake's temperature can be surprisingly cold, shocking your body and making it harder to swim, especially on hot days when you're not expecting that sudden chill. Below the surface, the lake bottom is like a maze. Deep holes appear without warning, and thick water plants wave like underwater forests ready to entangle anyone who swims too close. Lake Piru's history holds dark stories beneath its peaceful surface. Like a book with sad chapters, each year seemed to add another tragedy to its waters. In 1994, the lake claimed its first widely known victim, a man who went for a swim on what seemed like any other day. One moment he was there, swimming and enjoying the water. The next, the lake's powerful currents pulled him under, leaving behind only ripples and questions. The year 2000 brought an even more heartbreaking story, one of a father's ultimate sacrifice. When his daughter started struggling in the water, he didn't hesitate. He jumped in to save her, and while she made it back to safety, the lake's fierce undertow claimed him instead. His last act was one of pure love, saving his child while giving up his own life. In 2008, the lake struck again, taking a 25-year-old man who was just trying to enjoy a summer day with friends. The combination of cold water and strong currents proved too much, turning a fun afternoon into a tragedy. 2 years later, in 2010, another young life was lost. Despite the water's calm appearance that day, the lake's hidden forces pulled another swimmer under, adding one more name to its somber list. Each incident served as a warning about the lake's deceptive nature, but somehow, these warnings often went unheard or unheeded by new visitors. On that fateful day in 2020, there were small signs that Naya wasn't quite herself. When she pulled into the parking lot around 1 p.m., her car stood out, not aligned with the angled parking spaces like everyone else's, but parked straight in, as if her mind was already somewhere else. She stepped out wearing white shorts and a darker top, carrying a large bag, moving with purpose toward the boat rental. Her son followed behind, trying to keep up with her quick pace. There was an eagerness in her steps, a hurry to get out onto the water. After getting their boat, the rental staff helped them aboard. They made sure everything was ready, probably giving the usual safety instructions that so many visitors only half listen to. Then mother and son set off across the lake, looking like any other family starting a fun afternoon adventure. During their boat ride, Naya did something that would later become a precious final memory for her family. She called her father, George. Their relationship wasn't just father and daughter. They were close friends who shared their lives with each other. Using FaceTime, they could see each other's faces as they talked, making the conversation feel more personal. Like many times before, Naya looked to her dad for guidance, asking him about swimming in the lake. It was a normal question, the kind of thing daughters ask their fathers every day. On that Monday morning, around 9 a.m., the search that had kept everyone holding their breath finally came to an end. A boat crew making their usual rounds spotted something in the water on the northeast side of the lake. When they got closer, their hearts sank. They had found Naya. The discovery brought up more questions than answers. Her body was floating near the surface, not deep underwater where they had spent days searching. This detail haunted everyone involved in the search. Why had it taken 5 long days to find her when she had been so close all along? Sometimes the simplest answers are the hardest to accept. For nearly a week, the lake had been alive with activity. Helicopters circling overhead, boats crisscrossing the water, divers plunging into the depths. All of this intense effort had started with a simple mother-son trip to the lake on a warm Wednesday afternoon. Now, with Naya found, the busy search gave way to a heavy silence. A father's instinct is rarely wrong. As George spoke with Naya about swimming, a cold feeling of worry spread through his body. He found himself repeating the same warning over and over. "Don't leave the boat, sweetheart. It'll drift away from you." He knew Lake Piru well enough to understand its dangers. The water was cold enough to shock your body, and the currents were strong enough to exhaust even the best swimmers. Even though Naya was a good swimmer, the lake didn't care about that. It had claimed strong swimmers before. Then came the moment that would haunt George forever. Their call suddenly cut off after just 3 minutes. The abrupt silence on the other end of the line felt wrong, like a door slamming shut. That feeling in his stomach grew stronger, a father's instinct screaming that something terrible was about to happen. Sadly, he was right. The discovery that followed was every parent's nightmare. Little Josie, just 4 years old, was found alone on the drifting boat. Everything else was exactly where Naya had left it, her purse still holding her belongings, her shoes waiting for her return, and, most heartbreakingly, the unused life jacket that might have saved her. Josie was asleep when they found him, confused about where his mommy had gone. The sight of a child alone on a boat in the vast lake sent shockwaves through everyone who heard about it. As word spread about Naya's disappearance, a massive search operation sprang into action. The Ventura County Police Department took to social media, keeping worried fans updated on every step they were taking. Helicopters buzzed overhead, their blades cutting through the air as they searched the lake's surface. But as the first day of searching ended with only Josie's discovery, the police had to share the news nobody wanted to hear. They believed Naya was gone forever. On that Monday morning around 9 a.m., the search that had kept everyone holding their breath finally came to an end. A boat crew, making their usual rounds, spotted something in the water on the northeast side of the lake. When they got closer, their hearts sank. They had found Naya. The discovery brought up more questions than answers. Her body was floating near the surface, not deep underwater where they had spent days searching. This detail haunted everyone involved in the search. Why had it taken 5 long days to find her when she had been so close all along? Sometimes the simplest answers are the hardest to accept. For nearly a week, the lake had been alive with activity. Helicopters circling overhead, boats crisscrossing the water, divers plunging into the depths. All of this intense effort had started with a simple mother-son trip to the lake on a warm Wednesday afternoon. Now, with Naya found, the busy search gave way to a heavy silence. The medical examiner's findings told a story of that fateful day. Naya had drowned shortly after going missing, meaning she hadn't suffered long. But knowing this didn't make it any easier for those who loved her. It was her son Josie, just 4 years old, who helped piece together his mother's final moments. His innocent words painted a picture that broke everyone's hearts. According to Josie's account, his mother had made what would turn out to be fatal decisions that day. When offered a life jacket by the boat staff, she had said no, leaving it behind in the boat. She hadn't dropped the anchor either, something that might seem small but would prove crucial. As the boat began to drift away in the current, what should have been a peaceful swim turned into a desperate situation. In her final moments, Naya showed the depth of a mother's love. She used all her strength to push Josie back onto the boat, saving his life even as she struggled against the lake's powerful currents. But the boat kept moving farther away, carried by winds and waves she couldn't fight. Despite being a strong swimmer, the cold water and relentless currents proved too much. Her last act was one of sacrifice, ensuring her son's safety before the water claimed her. As often happens with tragic events, people online began creating their own theories about what happened that day. Some pointed to security footage from the parking lot, suggesting Naya might have been running from someone. They noticed her looking over her shoulder and thought she might have rented the boat to escape a stalker. But this theory fell apart under closer inspection. There was no evidence of anyone following her that day. Others suggested an even darker possibility that Naya might have planned to end her life. But this theory contradicted everything about who Naya was. She had packed lunch for the trip, brought supplies for a day of fun, and, most importantly, fought hard to save her son. Everything about her actions showed a mother planning a happy day with her child, not someone planning to leave him behind. The truth, as it often is, was both simpler and more tragic. Most people believe Naya's death was a terrible accident, the kind that can happen to anyone in the wrong circumstances. Maybe she got caught in the thick underwater plants that grow like forests beneath the surface. Perhaps she simply couldn't keep up with the drifting boat after saving Josie. The lake's powerful currents, which had claimed other lives before, finally overcame her strength, turning a beautiful day into a devastating tragedy. In the months following Naya's death, grief turned to action. Ryan Dorsey, Naya's ex-husband and Josie's father, decided to fight for change. In November 2020, he filed a wrongful death lawsuit against those in charge of Lake Piru. He wasn't just fighting for Naya, he was fighting for their son Josie, who would grow up without his mother. The lawsuit told a story of a lake that held deadly secrets beneath its peaceful surface. Ryan's legal challenge painted a clear picture of what went wrong that day. Lake Piru, with its hidden currents and unexpectedly cold waters, was like a beautiful trap. People would see the calm surface and never guess the dangers lurking underneath. The lawsuit pointed out something troubling. There weren't enough warning signs telling visitors about these dangers. It was as if the lake kept its deadliest secrets to itself, only revealing them when it was too late. The boat rental system also came under fire in the lawsuit. Ryan's team discovered that the boat Naya had rented wasn't properly equipped for safety. There was no life jacket small enough for little Josie, and other important safety equipment was missing. These weren't just minor oversights, they were serious failures that could mean the difference between life and death on the water. What made the situation even more frustrating was that Lake Piru had seen similar tragedies before. Other families had lost loved ones to its dangerous waters, yet somehow not enough had been done to prevent more deaths. Ryan's lawsuit wasn't just about money, it was about making sure no other family would have to feel the pain his family was feeling. He wanted the lake's management to face the consequences of their choices and make real changes to protect future visitors. The lawsuit became about something bigger than just one tragic death. It turned into a mission to protect other families, to make sure other children wouldn't lose their parents to the lake's dangerous waters. Ryan knew that by taking this stand, he might save other lives, even if he couldn't save Naya's. His fight for justice was also a fight for change, hoping to force the lake's management to take safety more seriously. Beyond the legal battle, Naya's story continued to touch lives in different ways. Her role as Santana Lopez on Glee had made her famous, but it was how she played the character that made her unforgettable. Santana wasn't just another high school character. In Naya's hands, she became real, complex, and deeply human. Fans saw themselves in Santana's struggles and victories, and Naya's performance gave hope to many who felt alone or misunderstood. But Naya was more than just an actress. She used her voice, both literal and figurative, to fight for things she believed in. She spoke openly about mental health when many people still found it hard to discuss. She supported causes that helped others, turning her fame into a force for good. Every interview she gave, every charity she supported, every person she helped showed that Naya understood her platform could make real change in the world. Naya's heart was especially big when it came to helping children. She believed every child deserved a chance to shine, just like she had. At events and charity functions, she would light up around kids, showing them the same warmth and encouragement her parents had given her. She used her fame not just for herself, but as a way to spread kindness and make others feel strong. Whether it was supporting local food banks or speaking at schools, Naya always tried to make the world a little better. When news of her death spread, social media became a river of memories and tears. The cast of Glee, who had been like a second family to her, shared stories that showed a side of Naya many hadn't known. How she would bring soup to sick castmates, how she never forgot anyone's birthday, how her laugh could brighten the darkest day on set. But in all these memories, one theme kept appearing: Naya's endless love for her son Josie. He became the living symbol of everything good and pure about her, carrying forward the warmth and strength she had given him. People found different ways to honor her memory. Some organized charity drives in her name, others created art or wrote songs. But the most touching tributes often came from ordinary people who shared how Naya had helped them accept themselves, find their courage, or feel less alone. Her impact went far beyond television screens. She had touched real lives in real ways. For Yolanda and George Rivera, losing their daughter created a hole that nothing could fill. Parents aren't supposed to outlive their children, and the pain of losing Naya hit them in waves. Yolanda would find herself reaching for the phone to call Naya only to remember she couldn't anymore. The simple things hurt the most. Seeing Naya's favorite foods at the grocery store, hearing her favorite songs on the radio, finding old photos that brought back memories of happier times. Yolanda often spoke about Naya's spirit, how even as a little girl, she had this special light about her. She remembered how Naya would practice dance routines in their living room, singing at the top of her lungs, dreaming big dreams that somehow came true. Now those memories were both precious and painful, like holding on to sunshine that slips through your fingers. George carried his own kind of heartache. He had been more than just Naya's father. He had been her first fan, her trusted advisor, her rock. That last FaceTime call haunted him, but it also gave him comfort knowing their final words had been filled with love and care. He found himself looking at old videos, remembering how proud he had been watching his little girl grow into such an amazing woman. Together, Yolanda and George poured their love into Josie, telling him stories about his mom, showing him pictures, making sure he knew what an extraordinary person she had been. They saw pieces of Naya in him, her smile, her laugh, the way his eyes lit up when he was happy. Through Josie, they felt like a part of Naya lived on. Those last Instagram posts Naya shared now seem like whispers from the past. Her words about making the most of every day, about tomorrow not being promised, they carry a weight that's almost too heavy to bear. Maybe she did have some sense, some feeling about what was coming. Or maybe she just understood better than most how precious life is and how quickly it can slip away. Naya Rivera's story isn't just about how she died. It's about how she lived. She lived with passion and purpose, with kindness and courage, with a love so strong it saved her son's life. Her legacy lives on in the lives she touched, the barriers she broke, the hearts she opened, and most of all, in the son she loved more than life itself.